Time for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. John? Here. Scott?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Stephanie?
Here.
Dale's here. Look over the agenda.
I would move we approve the agenda as presented.
John's moved to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Scott. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's look over the December 4th meeting minutes.
I think I was there on phone.
Oh, yes.
I think Gene Logie was here also.
Wait. L-O-G-E.
I'll make motion that we approve the December 4th minutes as amended
And dispense with reading.
and dispense with the reading.
Mark's made motion to approve the December 4th meeting minutes and dispense with reading.
I'll second.
Second by Stephanie. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bills to pay.
My only question on the bills to pay, is there anything in here, since I'm not here very often, that's like out of the norm? You know, all this is our regular monthly bills.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you have any questions, the
The vouchers are here,
vouchers,
so
the
you
invoices
yep,
and the
yep, you
receipts.
can
Okay.
ask for those too.
Okay. All right.
What did we do down at the shop, Wayne, that Lumber Mart had?
Remember it offhand, that's the end of the voucher.
Dale? Oh, Dale.
Yeah, Dale's got that.
So there'll be some few little supplies for the building and.
Oh, in Benford.
Yeah, I think it should be, we got some 2x4s that they
Yeah.
have cleaned for the,
Sure.
in the same state.
For the building up there, for the
And,
inside of the building.
When they're clipped together, what does that mean?
Just
I
gotta
don't
keep
know
going.
for sure, but that's what.
Yep. It's just all of the invoices all
That
in.
makes sense.
Looks like rebar, 2x4s, 2x10s.
Yeah. Did they get the concrete poured up there?
Can you
got
go
it
find
poured.
purchase power?
We kind of had a problem with the plumbers and they just switched plumbers.
Okay.
I think that one's got that in place.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the bills as they're presented.
Stephanie's made motion, present the bills presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mark. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Dale votes aye. Yeah, it looks like we got the budget amendments. Is that there?
Mark second.
Yes, in the budget amendments, when we did the budget, there was a transfer that we needed to do in this year, and that was to transfer $850,356.81 from the road department into the special project fund. So I would like a motion to do that at this time, please.
So it's basically a, I guess we can't call it $850,000 a housekeeping procedure, but it is. So the budget used to be separated where we kept the federal and state money separate from the overall budget for the road department. And the reason that was done in a special fund is so that we, the procedure for levying money is based on how much money is left over in a budget and how much you can actually levy according to the state guidelines, 30 mils in the road department. So these federal and state monies don't get used on a year-to-year basis. They get used when the project is, the rest of the money is available from the federal or state and on a needed basis. So what we were doing is trying to juggle things around to keep the money available and still abide by the levy amounts that were prescribed by the state. And that couldn't be done. We tried to put it together as a state mandate. It didn't work well. And now we've just separated that money. So that money was separated from the road department prior, and now it's separated from the road department again. And now it will be available strictly for these chip and seal projects, a bridge project, things like that. We won't have to juggle things around come budget time to try to keep that money safe. It'll just be there. It'll get used as on a needed basis. And if and when it comes to a point where if that system doesn't work anymore, we'll transfer it back to the road department or to the general fund of the county. So it makes things simpler. It was that way. The state wanted it done differently. They didn't think it through very well, and when we did it differently, it didn't work. So this isn't any money that it was always there. It was just in the system, and we're just, so now if you look, it won't be in the road department budget. It'll be in a special fund called
Road special projects.
There we go. And I still can't remember it. So anyway, that's all we're doing. So we'll need a motion, and this is strictly just a year end, so that when we start Because we created this fund now for 2021. Now we have to fund it at this year's end, so it shows the money coming out of the road department and into this new fund.
Into facet of the road department.
Yep.
Okay.
Was that a motion, John?
No, go ahead. Oh, I was just explaining it so everybody.
I'll move that we transfer those funds into the special road department fund.
Told you, bad name.
Special project.
Special project, there you go.
I have a motion by Mark to transfer the funds from the road department into the special fund. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Scott. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. Does this have to be a roll call?
Yes.
John?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Dale votes aye. Motion carries. Wayne, looks like you're up.
I don't have too much, I'm just gonna report a little bit on that meeting we had on Wednesday with the North Dakota DOT about future projects, and they're wishing to get money out to everybody so they don't have to go back. They just suggested that probably by the end of the year, we have a project to carry forward for 2022. Start working on it in the fall to get the paperwork ready and everything for that. Other than that, and then I did bring up, there was a request to check on it about railroad road funding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't their division to do the railroad funding for the cross arms that we're looking into. But they passed a letter on that the school had received from the DOT to the proper people, and they were gonna look and see how it sets up. There's so many projects that are waiting to get done, so it's kind of on a priority basis, I think, so,
And that had been in the system already.
yeah.
The request
It was
was
in
already
the
in the
system
system,
already.
waiting for the
Yeah.
railroad.
Yeah, because that was quite a few years ago. We went around
Yeah.
and visited a
Yeah.
bunch of sites.
Yep.
And
I drive school bus for the district, and every year they get that letter, comes to the district. And then this year we had to go out and, there's two ones down south here, they had to get the number off them and then submit it back to the proper people. That's all it is, so.
So it's in, if it ever gets to be a priority, it'll get
Yeah.
done. Yeah, that's been going on for quite some years.
Yeah.
And they send it out every year as a reminder, I believe.
Okay.
And we are working on the building in Bedford, trying to get that little room in there to be heated with bathroom facilities. Taking a while. It's not gonna get paid for out of this year's budget, but all of it. Other than that, the guys have been repairing stuff, getting things ready for next spring, which has been good. No snow plowing, save money. So I think there'll be quite a carryover into the next year, the fuel and everything that we save, so. That's all I have, I guess.
How are we coming with our hours on our maintainers as far as our leases for the year? We about where we're supposed to be, or a little behind, how?
We were about the same, we were over 2,000 hours at the end of 2
Yeah.
years, so.
Same way I did during COVID, just fine.
I think that's what we kind of figured was about 1,000 a year, wasn't it? 7 years, 7,000 hours, something like that.
Right, yep. Anything else?
thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Mr. McCullough.
What do you got for me?
Well, I guess we had some questions about, was there grant funding that was available for these lighting projects?
There is, yeah.
And then there was some question about disposal of fluorescents. Is that a problem or being?
No, I found a place that they dispose of them for 50 cents a bulb.
Okay,
But some want to keep them, some want to get rid of them, so I just always write in there not responsible.
sure.
So it'd be a number of, no markup, but number of bulbs
Bulbs.
times 50 cents.
Okay. Who provides the grant funds?
So that's the Department of Commerce.
Commerce.
It's for cities or counties. And I've been through it quite a bit, so it's pretty easy grant to go through too. They usually do it in like a day or two.
Okay.
And it's for
Who all has
50%.
done this? Have you done other facilities?
Yeah, we've done like 10 schools, 4 city buildings, schools all over the state. We're working on Crosby right now in Divide County. Drake, Animals, Hatton, Finley, Hope, Page. We're working on Northern Cass, Central Cass right now. Sargent Central, all the place. And I was actually working with, like 6 months ago, Chris, the city here, for the water plant and Chris Hansen.
Okay.
But she was applying for the grant, but I've checked in with her multiple times, just haven't heard back if she was going through with it or not. But yeah, been working with this grant a bunch. No, actually, just if you wanted to go forward with it, I would just send it all in. You'd fill out the grant. It's like a page or page and a half. Then you could just email it to me, and I could email because I got to send in the bid, the energy savings sheet, then a state sheet. That's just easier to put it all in one, send it right to the guy, CC whoever on it. But
Okay.
Is there a deadline on the grant?
I think it's an ongoing grant. It's been going on for like 5 years that I know of.
Okay.
And I called him and to make it's first come first serve
Mm-hmm.
to make sure there's still funds in it. And he said there was like 600,000 in it, and they fund it every month. So there's no real deadline that I know of. And it's 50%. You get reimbursed.
See, we have the police station, is that?
I didn't actually look at this one. I looked at
We
most of
walked
them.
through the whole thing, so I'm sure that the
Okay.
police is on the EOC side.
Would we wanna put the LEDs in our shop?
They can-
They came down on a Friday and the shop wasn't opened at that time,
Okay.
so then they said that they would come back and
Yeah, it can be any city-owned building or county-owned building. Or,
So for the savings here, you figured every light on 8 hours a day, 375 days. Over the
yeah,
year.
and I can tweak that. It's hard to know if this light's on all day and that one isn't.
Yeah, most of them aren't.
So that could change too, yeah.
Cool.
As far as being on, the county shop probably draws more voltage than this place would with lights, wouldn't it?
Probably should get a quote on that, how much it would be to do that.
And the grant is you gotta have, the payback's gotta be under 10 years to be accepted for it.
Does like Otter Tail provide kickbacks on LED lighting too?
I don't know that. I know they do in Minnesota for
Mhm.
sure, but I don't know if they do in North Dakota.
That's probably related to the state in Minnesota when they do it.
It could be, yeah. I'll have to look, but I couldn't find nothing for Otter Tail anyways,
You know,
in North Dakota. But there may be some other city rebates and stuff like that too.
Let me see. But there might be something through Otter Tail. I think Troy's looking now.
Because there's been some city rebates too. In certain cities, I'm not sure about Cooperstown. But
So this, my curiosity here, bid, the 6,800. Is that what it costs us, and then the paybacks come?
Yeah,
accordingly?
this is what it cost you, and you'd be, if you got the grant, you'd be reimbursed half from the state.
And we get
so
all
that's-
new lighting.
What we're doing and what I quoted
Yeah.
was taking, like these lights, taking the ballast out, leaving the fixtures.
Yeah,
We put in direct wire LED tubes where the power just goes straight to the end of the tube. So the only fail point is the tube. No more ballast and stuff like that. And it's basically an LED light. That's just the housing for it. And if you were to change out every light, that'd be 3-4 times the price, and probably wouldn't
yeah.
be accepted for the grant because it'd be over the 10-year payback. So that's the way I quoted it. And the theory is every light, no more ballast is the theory.
Sure. What's the life expectancy of a light like that? in,
They say
these?
50,000 hours before it starts to dim. It doesn't go out or whatever, but
In comparison to these that are,
I don't remember what these are, or I don't know what these are. I'm past fluorescence now.
I think everybody
You
kind of,
moved
I'm
on.
not even researching those, but 50,000 hours is what they put on there.
How much more brighter would they be?
It'd be a little brighter, but not like walk in the room and
Okay.
oh my god,
Notice.
brighter. Yeah, but we've done a bunch of these. We found out like classrooms, they don't want brighter. Like we've been putting classrooms in, like this is probably a 4K in color. It's not bright white.
Mhm.
But people, if you put in the bright white, people are complaining all the time. It's too bright, headache, whatever. So, and I put that on there. Temperature, color will be confirmed with ordering because it'd be what you guys would want. But this is probably a 4K. Some superintendents have put in 5K everywhere. I'm like, all right, you're gonna have people complaining, but you're the boss.
Yeah.
but this isn't something we have to do today, I don't believe.
No.
But should we have them take a look at the shop?
I mean,
That's
if you
the
look at
oldest
this
lights.
realistically, the 3,000 hours burned, that's on 375 days. Well,
Yes.
so there's only 260 days actually.
Yeah,
So now that takes the savings down to $3,000 total, or $3,026.
yeah,
And that's assuming 100% of the lights are on all the time.
yes,
So if you take it to 50% usage, you're only down to a savings of about $1,500 a year, realistically. So and then that's still within the 10-year payback period, but it isn't the savings that we're seeing here.
mhm,
So we're spending $3,000 to save $700 over the span of it. 3,000 to save the $700. So it's still a savings. It just isn't as Christmas time as this looks.
no, and, but I suppose some of the things too we gotta consider is that
I mean,
these lights are already 7, 8, 10 years.
And that doesn't factor in maintenance either,
Yeah.
change ballast and
Yeah.
where we save on that, light bulbs, calling someone to change a ballast. Which I don't put in there.
No, I wasn't
Yeah.
implying that it shouldn't be
Yeah.
done. I'm just,
Yep.
if
And like I
we're gonna
said,
make
I-
decisions on it, we have to
Yes.
use the actual facts rather than
Yeah.
pie in the sky.
I'm all for getting the shop
Looked at
quoted, yeah.
and see what we'd have to do there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I can go back and change these numbers and resend them too, to whatever you
Sure.
think.
Just make it look realistic,
Like I said,
because I mean,
Yep,
somebody looks at it and says, well, they made a decision there based on numbers that were correct,
Yep.
and that isn't, you know.
'Cause it's,
We wanna make
it's
the
Yeah.
7.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, so.
And probably only half the usage. Every light isn't on
No.
every day.
more so at the shop.
We put LED lights in the new shop up in Bentry. Got
Yeah.
like LEDs in there. And when we've been changing down here at the shop, we put in ones without a ballast. You can put the tubes in.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they're LEDs or not.
Yeah, that'd be,
Yep.
If you're taking the ballast
Yeah,
out,
we're taking the ballast out.
they gotta be LEDs then.
Yep.
We don't have that maintenance to replace.
So you want to do this, so,
maybe you should be putting in the bid on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we don't get any snow this winter, they'd have time.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
If you don't mind quoting out that.
Can I go look at it right now with someone while I'm here?
Yeah, we take them down there, Wayne?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks,
you.
Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, just get back to me if you, with a number then on, and I'll change it.
Okay.
We say 7.5 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
Probably not.
and then probably like half the building.
Yeah, then half the building.
Yeah.
So either way, if you want to do 375 or cut it in half after you're done.
Yeah.
Again, it worked out to about, just real quick arithmetic, about a $1,500 a year savings rather than the 44.
Yes. Still, let's see. Yeah. Instead of it being
Very
so-
unscientific, a very unscientific method of doing it when I did it, but I mean, that's. And I watch Samantha, she always shuts the lights off when she leaves the room.
You can tell.
It's those habits we get put in.
It's getting to the end of the budget season. It must be close because they're leaving the lights off now, so we're
Saving for the new
right
desk.
to the pinch.
You know it.
Okay.
You want to jump ahead to the mitigation plan? Is that you, Jamie?
Yeah. So we found out just recently that our mitigation, multi-hazard mitigation plan, 5-year plan that has to be updated every 5 years. Our 5-year update is required sometime around February 8th of 2020. It sounds like we're gonna get a grant for about 75% of that update, and the county would be responsible for 25% of it. As far as I know, it's required by the state that we have that plan and continue keeping it updated. The last time that it was done, it was like a $29,000 cost for the entire update of the plan, which I don't understand why it costs so much to update a plan that's already there, but that's what happened, I guess. So the grant covered about 75% of that.
And then you get in-kind money for participating.
Right.
Because I don't think we had anything out of pocket.
No, I don't think we did either. I think, looking through the binder, I think we had, our entire 25% appeared to be in kind the last time that we did it in 2015
'Cause
or 16.
I participated in the meetings and
Mm-hmm.
Bob and we got
Yeah, I think,
in-kind for guys that,
yeah, we have to,
We're
Bedford
present.
has to participate in Hannaford and Cooperstown,
Yeah.
and I think we get throughout in the county and for those meetings, I think that's part of the in-kind.
You can coordinate that.
Yeah.
how are they gonna do that with in-person meetings not being,
I'm guessing we'll probably have to be doing it by Zoom. We're still working on getting some prices from the 3 contractors that bid it last time. And, it'll have to be next meeting, I'm guessing. We'll get that information to you guys. We probably won't get it all done by February 8th, but we'll work on it.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
the old plan had been expired for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the South Central?
Yeah, South
Yeah.
Central did it last time. In order to get this grant, we have to have 3 bids from 3 different places. So we're just soliciting bids from the last 3 places that bid last time. And in order to start on it, we have to have a letter signed by you guys.
So that's what you're looking for now, is that?
For the signature, yeah.
Someone want to put forth motion?
I would move that we go forward with the hazard mitigation grant program and authorize Dale to sign on behalf of the county.
We had a motion from John to participate in the infrastructure community grant program. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Dale votes aye. Motion carries.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I'll let you guys know what the bids come in and we'll keep you guys informed.
I'll do it. Kelly?
Sam just let me know that you got a contract, proposed contract from, I haven't seen it, but,
Oh, okay.
just,
You have to listen about this Jamestown thing.
well, we haven't, in Griggs County, we haven't had a contract with them for as long as I can remember. I know that, I don't believe I ever had one. It's not the clerk's, responsibility or duty to run community service, but I have been doing it. I think Jan did it prior to me, and it was just one of those duties that, that kind of just got passed down to me. I don't know what I haven't seen what they proposed or.
They didn't propose anything.
No.
They just said that they used to have our business and they want it back, and no one could
Didn't tell
call.
us what they were gonna do
Okay.
for us or anything else, so.
So do you want to
And
contact
who
them?
is
and-
it from?
Jamestown
Is it
Community
Jamestown?
Corrections.
Okay.
Here's a letter.
I believe in the past, I think the last proposed contract, I think it was around $3,000 for a year or something around that. It's been a couple of years. Okay. Yeah, she's new.
Would you make the call and get the info on that? Or would Sam make the call to get the info on that? Or the contract? Or one of you two?
Well, I mean, they haven't been providing us any services to date, so I
don't know what they would- what they
Why
need
would
to
we
do.
follow up on it? It's just a sales call trying to sell us a service we don't use.
Oh, probably.
Well, I mean, if we're not using the service,
Well, we do have community service.
Yeah.
There are some that are, and like I said, right now, I guess I'm doing it as the clerk. It's not the clerk's job, but it's been one that we have. We don't have a large volume of community service each year.
That's probably a good thing.
It's a lot of work when we do have one, but it's, if it was something that I was inundated with every year, I would definitely say this is not something I would want to handle as the clerk, as it's not the clerk's responsibility, but, like I said, we don't have a large volume of it.
So we're just gonna
Probably
disregard it?
have 1 or 2 a year. I have somebody on community service right now, but it's been difficult for her to fulfill that with, obviously the pandemic going on. I think I only have 1 this year. I had a couple last year.
A lot of times when they get somebody in the community service that does a job for the community, they have to have somebody there to watch them too.
Yes, they do have to be supervised. That is one benefit of, having an outfit like that is, they do have to have somebody that's supervising them. When I do have an individual on community service, I do put them under our WSI insurance because we do have to have them covered in the event that they were to get injured. And I think we can have up to, I think it's 7 individuals a year before they start charging us. We pay $200 a year for that insurance service, and anything above and beyond that, then they charge per person. We've never come close to that, so we do pay that every year.
All right. I'm with John. Should we just ignore it and move on? You've got it good already.
Like I said, if it was something where I was inundated with several, then I would come to you and say, this isn't something that I, as a clerk, am responsible for, and it's taking up the.
Well, then we would go to the court system. If the court system was imposing community service and the cost to the county outweighed the service we were getting, it doesn't make sense to do it. If it costs us money to supervise community service, which community service is supposed to be a benefit to the county, why would we do it? Then it's strictly a punishment, and the court doesn't charge us punishment, not us.
Yeah, I don't know, Jamie,
So
you know the century code on that.
It doesn't make sense to pay for something that we're getting for free.
Yeah, I don't know, we use community corrections, something like that up in Nelson County, and I don't know how we pay for it because they pay the people that are on community service, they pay the fees for it.
It's a $30 fee for them, is all.
So I'm not sure that
They're
we would have
assessed
to
that
pay
fees.
anything anyway.
Yeah.
I think as far as I know, I'm the only clerk that I know that does the community service. I think most counties have a contract. I know any county called me, the sheriff's department called me there a couple of years ago to find out what exactly I did. Because I know they're having some issues with their situation there, so they were considering just doing it in-house also. I don't know whether it ever came out of that, but. And like I said, for me, it's not, if it became something that was,
A burden?
yeah, then I would say, but as of right now.
And I don't see sentencing a pile of people to community service because it's a pain in the butt to babysit them. They don't get it done
Yeah.
anyway, and then if
If it punishes the county to
Yeah.
have people sentenced to community service, we probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
Well, it's
it
more
hasn't
an
been terribly
inconvenience for the
productive for us.
individuals that have to supervise them.
Punishing the
Watch them.
taxpayers.
Yeah.
It's not something I've worked out for us in the past, so we just won't do it.
Good.
Very good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Brian?
Should I come up to the, is that okay?
Certainly.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. My name's Brian Osowski. I'm the owner of AMCO Advisors. We're a municipal advising firm based out of Fargo. We are a registered municipal advising firm. We are registered with the Securities Exchange Commission and the Municipal Securities Rule Board, which is required by federal law when giving advice to municipalities such as yourself. And I contacted Samantha, the building authority for Griggs County, which built this building, and then the county leases the building. The call date is coming up in May, and what that means is the county could actually refinance that bond based on current interest rates and look like it could save some money.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
No, the county can't refinance it.
well, the building authorities can, but, which is, I'm sorry. The building authority can refinance, which is I guess I'm not 100% sure who sits on the building authority, but I'm guessing it's usually the commissioners.
It's Dale, myself, and Troy.
Okay. So they could elect to, if they wanted to, pay off the old bond and refinance based on their current interest rates and save some money on that existing debt. We're actually working with the city of Cooperstown right now. They had a street improvement bond that they did back in 2012, which call date has come up, and we're looking at refinancing that for them as well. So interest rates are at historic lows, even lower than when the financial crisis back in 2010. I just did one for the city of Pembina. It just went to 2027, and their interest rate ended up at 1.09% out to 2027. So what I gave to Samantha was just some examples of, based on kind of maybe where interest rates would be, of what the building authority looks like it could save if it wanted to refinance. I did there's a couple different ways you can do it. I always look at it as, like, if you were to refinance your house, if you did a 30-year mortgage, interest rates dropped, and you could make the same payment but pay it off in, say, 20 years. That's one of the scenarios where basically you're just paying more principal and you pay it off earlier. In the example that I gave, it'd be you pay off 1 year earlier. That's usually where you're going to see the maximum savings. The other way is if you were to look at just saying, well, I want to keep the same term, but I want to reduce the annual debt service. And then what you're doing is you're just taking that savings on an annual basis. That's the other scenario that I gave in there. So obviously paying more principal upfront is the greater savings, but it just depends on what the goal would be for the county or the building authority.
I have some questions, but Troy
Yeah.
can probably ask the questions better than I. Troy's a banker. I'd like if he would ask the questions that I believe I have, and I'll just fill in at the end.
Like these amortization schedules that you provided, that's just an illustrative.
Correct.
So you don't know exactly how the bond will be structured. Because normally there's tranches and there will be multiple interest rates based on the length of the tranche. This looks like one entity is gonna own the whole bond.
Yeah, and I believe that would probably be the best approach to refinancing the issue. When it was originally done, you went out and got a rating, and that rating has kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit since the original issue.
But the bond wasn't rated. I don't think.
The bond,
I don't think so. The building authority didn't have a rating. They were a nothing. That's a shell.
but the bond did get a rating. If they told you it didn't, it did.
No, the county got the rating, which we opposed because the whole nature of the process was that the county was not involved. They were leasing the building, hence the building authority. And so they tried to impose a rating reduction on the county that was supposed to affect the bond of the building authority, which we never did. We never got a satisfaction to how that was done or why it was done, and maybe that's why we never got a rating on the bond. But we never did see the rating on the bond, and we assumed it wasn't rated, correct?
Well, when Moody's, everybody got fired up over the building not getting done, then they made it. I can't remember what the rating. I mean, they did something, but I don't remember what it was.
But not on the bond, on the county. That was imposed on the county.
Exactly.
Right. Who wasn't the owner of the bond?
Still isn't.
So
Correct, yes, but the issue actually did get a rating.
So the question was, so
Okay.
you think this should be sold to one entity?
Correct. Yes, and what we're seeing, and that's a great question. And working for, being a banker
I've never
is,
seen a municipal bond structured that way,
what's that?
like a loan.
Oh, yeah, no, actually, again, the city of Pembina, that was Steve Rakowski with First United Bank up in Park River, actually ended up buying that. And he just, now, Steve buys a lot of bonds, so he actually structured it with different interest rates, but we also got quotes with just saying one interest rate, one kind of term bond, but here's your principal reductions.
Steve Rahovsky.
Rahoska, yeah,
Yep.
Raquel, sorry. But so he ended up actually purchasing that,
Okay,
and
so it's just a bank loan, basically.
it's a tax exempt bank loan, yeah. We call it a bond, but it's a tax exempt. And the reason I think that would be the better approach is, if we looked at what you did, back in 2013 when you sold that bond, and again with the rating and things like that, and I, I have it was BAA1 is what it was rated, and then, so if we were to do that, and obviously with all what's gone on with the rating, you'd have to try and tell that story and things like that. Well, more from a bank standpoint, bank's probably gonna look, as long as the lease is in place, you could probably have more of a better sale, let's just put it that way. Getting bids from various banks that are looking for an investment like this.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, and the other reason for that approach is, and just so you know, I used to work for a commercial bank,
Sure.
and I know kind of the sweet spot, if you want to call it, of, banks don't usually typically like to go out, lock in rates beyond 10 years in that kind of range. And, this is close, so there, some would probably look at it and say, okay, it's pretty close to a 10-year, I probably could stretch a little bit more. It's a better, they're gonna feel comfortable more with the building authority of Griggs County than, maybe other types of opportunities that they would look at, I guess,
Well,
if you
in today's environment, it's gonna pay down fast.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if the interest rates change in 5 years, and they're not gonna change in the next 2, according to the Fed.
Yeah,
So the risk it isn't a 12-year risk, really.
yeah. Great point. So back to your original question, I guess my approach was more to look at it that way. I think it'll provide for more successful sale. I mean, you could leave it the way it is, but I also think that there's an opportunity for the building authority to save money, which in turn helps save the county some money. And, again, maybe just to point out the way we work is, let's say we came back, we got bids, we presented those bids and they didn't save the building authority any money. The building authority can reject those bids and you're not obligated financially or otherwise. So obviously our fee is contingent, same like what we're doing with Cooperstown. Our fee is contingent if they want to move forward with the bids we bring back. One other thing I should say, the examples I gave you, similar to when you did the issue, or when the building authority, and again, I apologize, when the building authority did the issue back in 2013, the fees to do the issue would be part of the new bond issuance, so the savings I'm showing are net, because they'd be included as part of the new bond issuance. And that includes bond counsel. At the time you used Arnson Stewart Wagner, I guess, again, if there's no objection, I would propose using them still.
So let's, on page 14, where you have it, 128,996.69 gross debt savings. that would be after the fees, after your fees were extracted?
No, the actual
Well, the fees are
number,
in the principal and the front end, but there's only gonna be 1.48 left, and they're gonna charge 35,000. So then you just start at a bigger number.
Yeah.
My question is, if we're gonna do this as a bank loan, why don't we just go talk to the banks? Why pay somebody 35,000?
That's what I was
The
trying to
only
get to.
security instrument in this whole transaction is a UCC 1A filed with the Secretary of State. Because the building authority doesn't own the ground under it. So if the building authority borrows money against this building, it can't be a real estate mortgage anyways. I know it's a UCC 1A because I looked at it.
I guess what he's trying to say, it's a pretty expensive finder's fee, to be paying, no offense, to be paying you $35,000 to do something that we could do, or at least start the process on our own. Because everything else is in place. The Bank of North Dakota basically is the overseer of the lease agreement. And the UCC filing is a matter that could be taken care of real easily, so that begs the question, is your fee negotiable?
Well, see, the Bank of North Dakota would be out of this thing.
Yeah.
Because all they are is a safekeeper of the bonds. So if you're gonna call the bonds and pay them to zero, they're gone.
No, they're the gatekeeper of the lease. So the lease agreement.
Only because the bond is there, I think.
And, no.
I'd have to read that.
Because the building authority can go away, and the lease is still in effect, and it's in effect because the Bank of North Dakota is a gatekeeper of that lease.
I'd have to look at it again, but I don't think they
I
have.
think I remember
It-
that correctly.
yeah.
it depends, I mean, if they're the trustee, I guess.
They
if
are the
they're-
trustee.
Yeah, so if they're the trustee,
Yeah.
then you might still want a trustee in place.
Right. Right.
Again, I would think that based on the structure, an Arnson Stewart Wagner, you'd still need bond counsel, so you're still gonna have, that 35 isn't all our fee, that includes bond counsel. You still have to, most banks can't structure a bond,
No,
they, or a tax exempt loan, they usually don't do it, and nothing against the bank, they just don't typically do the right paperwork to make sure that it qualifies under a tax exempt status.
I didn't say your services were worthless.
No.
I said your services, are they negotiable, because you're charging the same percentage as the initial offering. The initial offering was in the $3.4 million, and it cost us $86,000. Now we're down to 1.4, and it's 35,000. So the percentage is the same, but the amount of work required for this reoffer is a lot less. So the profit margin for the people this go around would be more if you're getting the same percentage as prior. So again, I'm not saying your services are worthless, but are your services negotiable?
Again, yes, I would be willing to,
Okay.
I guess, look at,
Okay, so then
something,
the only-
again, this is just an estimate. I'm not sitting here saying this is, but you had to have a starting point for the discussion, because obviously the discussion wasn't being had before, so.
Oh yeah, this discussion has been ongoing since the day that we signed this.
No, I understand that, but I,
Very aware
yeah,
of
no, I
when this
understand
all
that.
takes
I mean,
place.
again, it's a very small world, and
Yeah.
all this is public information, so it was pretty easy to go back and follow, so.
So a long way to get at this, but the whole point of it is, the only way to determine what a fair price on this is to put it out and let other people bid on it. Are you in favor of us doing that? Or does
Yeah,
that exclude your participation?
If you want to go out and, the original person that did this, PFM, the gentleman that was with PFM in North Dakota is no longer here, he retired, so you'd be,
I don't think we'd do it that way. I think we'd do it the reverse. I think we would find a lending institution and let them walk it backwards in order to make it fit their schedule. Just the same as you did with the gentleman up north we were just talking about. So I think that's the way that would take place, is rather than start with the bond people, we would start with somebody that would be willing to take on the debt and at what interest rate, and then add their fees to that. No different than going to the local bank and say, here, what can you do with this? And they could say, well, we kind of like that interest rate would fit, and we say, okay, get it done for us.
So I'm confused where you would want me to step in then. I guess if that was your approach.
If that would be, so we have to have a way to set the price of your services. Your services can't be set by, they can be set by what you say your services are worth, but the market has to set the price of your services. The only way to let that happen is to take it out to the market and see what the cost of it would be.
Okay, I mean, again, if you went to a bank, and you went to one institution, and you said, okay, well, and let me make sure, I'm trying to
Or
understand.
2 or 3 institutions, let's say, here, we want to borrow this much money for 12 years, what's that gonna cost us? And how are you gonna go about doing it? And what are those fees gonna cost? And they would say, well, we're not interested in doing it, or yes, we can do it, or we can do it at a higher interest rate. Either way, we would end up with a figure, just as you gave us, of what it's gonna cost to do this and what the savings will be. And that determines then what the market value of this process is.
Now that we know what we know, John,
Mhm.
just speaking from my standpoint, I was assuming there was some other, I thought this whole thing was just for illustrative purposes, and if that is actually the way it is, then I think we should think about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. But again, I didn't want to exclude, you brought it to us, so you don't want to exclude you, but are you on board with being one of a possible many that would be, that this would be put forward to?
Yeah, again, I think you're comparing apples and oranges a little bit. What you're just saying is you'll go out and do that. What I do is you retain my services to do that for you, is to go out and obtain bids from various institutions under structure and things like that to do that for you.
Right.
If you're saying, well, we'll just contact banks, I guess what I'm hearing is you're taking that initiative and I guess, not to be, but you're welcome, and I don't know that you really, I mean, you're kind of doing what I would have done for you to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. That's what I do. My fiduciary responsibilities to you, not to the banks that are going to bid. The bank's fiduciary responsibility is to the banks. So if you're okay with whatever the banks give you, then it was nice to meet you and thanks for having me. But I'm here to represent you if you were to hire me.
No, we're here to represent the taxpayers of Griggs County.
Correct. And so if you just take whatever a bank gives you, did you do it? And you could have gotten, with the way we do our business, you could have gotten a better interest rate. Did you really? I mean,
but we didn't follow through. So what does it hurt if we go to a bank and it comes back higher than what you have proposed to us? All we'd say was, well, we checked the market and it appears like we got the best bid up front, so we'll take that. If we go to the market and the market comes back and we get a better price elsewhere, we'd say, thank you, you brought this to us, but we're going somewhere else. That's the whole purpose of it.
And I think we should probably get proposals such as what he brought to us today.
Yeah.
From other people that do the same thing. I mean, it makes sense just to look around a little bit.
It does. That's our job, is to make sure that the citizens of Griggs County benefit.
So I think this is
from our decision.
This is just a first step.
Yep.
So what do you need? We need the commissioners to recommend to the building authority to look into this and bring us back a proposal? Or
Well,
you have
that's-
to decide we don't even get it?
So that's backing that up. So
Yeah.
is the commission in favor of the building authority moving forward to try to decrease the lease payment to the county?
Yes.
So, well, I mean, we can think about that, because that's the first step, because remember, these are supposed to be separate entities. By law, they have to be separate entities. The building authority can't act for the commission, nor can the commission act for the building authority.
Right.
Okay.
And the way, and so it might come to the point that when we're all said and done with this, that the, as it's laid out here, is the best deal that the building authority
knows?
can get. And certainly I don't believe the building authority, because of its makeup, would move forward without the consent of the commission anyway.
Commission's gonna have to sign a revised lease agreement.
Yeah, and the Bank of North
I mean,
Dakota
I
really does need to
Assume
be
they
consulted,
would if it's gonna hold
consulted,
this.
because they are the trust, they are
Or
the
the
trustees.
years.
You know, the Bank of North Dakota is the trustee, so they need to be consulted in,
It's up to
right
the
up
Bank of North,
front.
yeah, it's up to the Bank of North Dakota to accept a lease, a change in the lease.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying your building authority peeps are gonna roll with that?
Well, okay, so with that said, the building authority typically is the same people as the county commissioners. If you guys wanna be the building authority, I would resign if you want me to. If you don't, if you want me to stay on board for a while, I will.
I would appreciate if you would, Troy,
I mean, I can.
with your expertise of what you do. I think it'd
Actually,
be
that might
very-
make it easier if it comes down to someone complaining about conflict of interest with voting members on the commission, then it would be a quorum and a majority that would not be in the building
It's
authority.
just, I'm just throwing that out there because the building authority and the commission will have to work in concert.
Right. And I mean, the only reason that we're on the building authority is we couldn't get anybody else to do
Right.
it. To be honest, we couldn't even get two of the other commissioners to do it.
Sean and Ron said things, but no thanks.
So I think the first step is to have someone get a hold of the Bank of North Dakota and see whether or not they would be on board with
I
that.
can do
as
that.
a
I mean, I
custodian.
know
Yeah.
those guys in the trust department.
And you would like this fine gentleman to
Stay in
Stay in touch?
tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
there?
I mean, if we fail in our effort to get a lower price, he's got to come back in.
So they're saying
Doesn't
they'll
have to.
they're saying they'll think about
Yeah, I
it.
mean, again, it's,
He brought it, he did us a favor by bringing it to our attention that it might be something that we could do to
Absolutely.
improve the position of the county in this.
He did, but it was something that we've been talking about since the 21 date. We knew that, and we were always
Right, we knew we couldn't do anything until May of 2021. Because all the bonds that were, all the tranches that were in place up until now were not callable.
right.
So you couldn't refi, that was a fixed
Okay,
in stone, you couldn't change them.
yep.
So that's
And-
why we haven't done anything.
And the later tranches have a higher interest rate. That's how
That's how.
they anticipated interest rates would go up when they first let this bond, and they haven't. So interest rates have stayed the
They've gone
same.
down.
So now the interest rate is it what 3.2? The next one, the next tranche, I think, something like that. It doesn't matter. The interest rates are starting to escalate, and so there's cheaper money out there. So it makes sense to
so the,
refinance it. Basically.
Totally, yeah.
so after this, the interest rates that you will, and again, obviously it's a blended interest rate, but
Yeah.
is 1.9, 2.25, 3, 3.15, and 3.3 are the remaining interest rates on the bonds. So
They're
there's,
2
again,
years.
as they were mentioning, there's different term bonds that you are paying on.
And those rates are, they're good for 2 years on each one of those.
Okay.
So if, the next interest rate would be in place for the next 2 payments, and then the next one is a little bit higher one and a little bit higher. And the other thing now, the interest rates have gone down since that bond was let, and we're at a shorter term, so it makes sense that the interest rates would be less. And the county has, the building authority, county or whoever, has never missed payments, so this thing is seasoned.
Well,
So maybe we can go forward.
I agree with you from that standpoint, but I think also, again, the approach of going to a local institution will, if you had to go and tell this to the bond market, it probably would be a very hard story to tell, because it is, the rating, and again, I understand there's the building authority, but it is paid from the county that that rating has been decreased. And so it would be a hard story to tell out on the public market where you would normally see your better interest rates. And that's why, again, I think the approach with the bank is to fix it in and not have to worry about that anymore. You might disagree, but I'm telling you, all this is filed publicly.
I fully
It
disagree.
is all filed publicly, and
But we haven't, the
I don't know
county
enough
hasn't
to
been
ask.
re-rated since 2000.
Smiling on.
No,
So unless you went down that trail, you wouldn't know the answer to that question.
no.
well, at some point, something got downgraded though.
No, I know that, right up on the front end. We were,
Yeah.
we
Oh, I see what you're saying, yes. Since 2013, when it originally was downgraded, yes.
It was
Yeah.
downgraded because of a fear that we weren't going to make the payments on the bond, and history has shown that we are. So the downgrade was, it was nothing more than a scare tactic. It downgraded the county, it didn't downgrade the people that held the bond. It was nothing more than just nonsense.
No, and I understand that. And again,
spent
that's,
enough hours on the phone with Moody's. and
yeah,
North
no,
Dakota.
and I understand that, but also that's not, unfortunately, that's not the way the market looks at it. But I think this approach,
No, but the market hasn't looked at it since then.
yeah.
What I'm saying is if you were gonna go down that trail, you'd find out. I
Yeah.
don't know I mean, I haven't.
How long do they hold a grudge?
Yeah, I don't know, that's the question.
You know, the thing was, we weren't gonna make the bond payment because the building wasn't finished.
Right.
Yeah. And we didn't even actually say we were gonna make the bond payment.
No.
We asked the question of the state of the Bank of North Dakota, what happens if we don't make the payment? And that's all it took, and they panicked, being the trustee.
Yeah.
And more than likely strong-armed Moody's into, into decreasing our bond rating, and then they brought that up to us that you're destroying the financial integrity of Griggs County by your actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I mean,
Actions that we hadn't
I
taken.
think
We hadn't taken.
getting into things that probably,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
to me, I don't know that I think there's a better way to approach it, and that's, you know,
And that's why Troy asked the question, because
Yeah.
it looked like a simple loan, and it is, and that's how you proposed it. Yep.
yep. I think that will be the most efficient for the county, I guess or for the building authority.
Especially when
That-
banks are sitting on huge amounts of money here with not getting any payback on them.
Yeah.
I mean, these local banks are sitting, 60-70% and
Liquidity
had nothing to do with it.
sitting everywhere.
And 1.5% or 1.9% are way better than nothing.
What is the bond rating? What we've been,
Did you say it was?
yeah.
Our bond rating now?
Well, we were junk bond after that.
Oh.
After
Yeah.
Moody's flew off the handle at us. It was not, it was a Zippo.
Well,
Can
it be fixed, Troy?
What for?
It'll get fixed over time.
Yeah.
We just don't know how fast it'll get fixed, and you won't know that because nobody's gonna come and rate Griggs County unless Griggs County wants a bond. So the only way to find out if you've been forgiven is to start down that trail. Then somebody would rate you, yeah, I don't know, there's a website called Emma that has all these on there, so you can, if you went on there, you would see at the time that all the information that was given as support for the bond was the balance sheet, cash flows, everything from Griggs County. Now, if you did that today, the county is still in great shape. We don't have any other debt. We don't have any debt. The building authority has a debt. The lease guarantees the payment on the debt. I mean, nothing would change. And the only thing that has changed is the thing's been paid down $2 million.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a pretty good story to tell right there if you were gonna get into a discussion with somebody. And I'm not saying you'd win the discussion, but I'm just saying I can't believe that they're gonna be mad forever. And I did have that conversation with Moody's at one point.
But that's the whole point is the rating is worthless because nothing changed. From the time before they derated us to the time after they derated us, our financial position did not change one bit. Nothing.
Yeah, no.
So there was no purpose in doing that other than punitive, And if we're dealing with an agency that wants to be punitive like that, then they can be gracious on the other side of it. If we have a project that has to take place that was gonna require a bond, the minute we go to a bonding agency, they're gonna fix that whole relationship and get us booted back up where the bond rate, where it's up again so we can do it. This is a good old boy network. And so the bond rating doesn't mean nothing to us. It didn't hurt us, it didn't cost us any money, it didn't do anything to us, other than they tried to make us look bad because we asked a question on whether or not we had to pay for this building. So, can we fix it? There's nothing to fix.
Okay.
Unless you somehow would want to. But they're supposed to rate you based on your financial position, and our financial position never changed one penny from the time we had this rating here and the time we had the low rating here. Nothing changed.
Well, thank you so much for your time
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
and all the education I received
Okay.
just now.
Yeah, well, as soon as we know if we can do something, if we can't go to a local bank without you involved, then we'll have to use your services for sure.
Okay.
Just don't raise the fee to 40,000 then.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I'd make a motion that Troy contacts the bank in North Dakota and conveys this,
Thank you.
Well,
conveys the situation that we're proposing and see if it's possible.
don't you think that all really the commission has to do is to make a motion to instruct the building authority to try to find us a better deal?
If you want it that way, I would like it more if you guys were, if the commission was more hands-on than that, but.
You know?
Well, I
Right
think the
now-
commission's gonna have to be hands-on because we're gonna have to
Yep,
approach
we
Bank of
will be.
North Dakota and ask for permission to do this.
Right, and that's why I made a motion to instruct Troy to talk to the Bank of North Dakota. Then it's the full commission doing it.
Okay.
And then you guys are involved and well, I'm involved.
Yep,
I mean,
yep, we will be.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. John made a motion to have Troy Olson from the Griggs County Building Authority contact the Bank of North Dakota in regards to the Building Authority bond. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Stephanie. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any other discussion? Barring none, proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Troy.
Yeah, thank you, Troy.
Yep, see you guys.
You seconded it.
I
Yes.
don't think they're gonna allow,
Hmm?
I don't think they're gonna allow that right away.
What, for us to restructure?
No, to us to go directly to a financial institution. I think there's too much of a good old boy network in there.
Yeah, maybe.
That they want to keep the process in place and so that everybody gets.
I guess you're right, because then a lot of times that'll eliminate the middleman.
Yeah, it.
Well, Troy seemed to have an idea about how this was all done, and
No, we know how it's gonna be done. I'm
Yeah.
saying the Bank of North Dakota isn't gonna
Oh,
want
I
us to
see.
go directly to a bank. They're gonna want a middleman.
They're gonna want an
In the
attorney
middle,
and a
because-
bond
yeah.
agent to get a cut of the pie.
Yeah,
We don't have a lobbyist. He does.
if we do
Kinda
this
like
and
our
everybody
engineers.
else catches on that this is being done, this pretty much eliminates
It eliminates
the need
that
to
whole
do that in the
service.
state of North
Yeah.
Dakota.
Which it should. So just so you know, I don't think they're gonna allow that. They're gonna come with some.
So that was just poor hazing to Brian while he sat there. Poor guy. You challenged him to no other.
Well, I mean, when you come to this body and propose a fee, and now the fee, it isn't you and I paying it.
Yep.
It's the taxpayers.
Mhm.
It is our obligation to make sure that proposal is the best deal that the taxpayers can achieve. And if that subjects somebody to have to answer questions that they feel uncomfortable about, that's the way it is. And if you can't answer those questions, then we probably shouldn't move forward. And he understands the game.
Absolutely he does. He's been on both sides.
Probably better than it is too.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's better if, he likes it better if no one asks him those questions. But that's not the way the system works.
Okay.
So we wouldn't being mean to him. Or if we were, it wasn't for the sake of being mean to him, it was for the sake of making sure that
Sure.
Samantha says, well, why did we pay them $35,000? I'm a taxpayer, I think we should have paid them less.
You know those questions were coming from
Oh.
this commission.
Be sure you did.
If he didn't do his research.
So we'll probably end up using them anyway, and that'll be the apology.
Or maybe we can get them, since it's just a refinance, maybe we can get them to lower his fees a little bit, if you were talking to.
Well, if they have to have a bond attorney, they're gonna take their cut of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hopefully we just work our way around it.
Sure.
Use a local bank and we'll
Okay.
either way, it's gonna be a savings to the taxpayers, just how big a savings.
Let's move on to the DNA mobility contract. Looks like Travis is proposing to amend the contract. It's gonna save us a little bit of money. It's gonna, rather based off of block number machines, is gonna go by unit, so it's gonna cost us a little less.
Mhm.
What brought that about, Sam? Was that, did you request that, or did someone, you just brought that up?
Yep, no, he did it. He's got other
Clients.
clients, and so just in the marketplace or whatever, this is what's going on or whatever, and these are what they usually do. So then he switched to that,
Assuming his competitors are getting more competitive, so.
and that's kind of what they're using now.
Yeah.
So
Either that,
then,
or in 6 months, we're gonna add a bunch more machines.
well, I don't think we'll add any more, since we added quite a bit of like the laptops with COVID and stuff.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
You need a motion to approve the new contract, or,
yep, just the amendments.
okay? I'll make a motion to accept the new contract of $13,440.
A motion by Mark to amend the contract with DNA Mobility. Is there a second?
I'll second
Second by Scott.
Are we, do we know that it's not going up?
Mhm.
I mean, these new machines we added, are they part of, are they going to be added onto this?
I think they already are.
His estimated pricing for 21 is
Yeah.
includes the savings.
$900.
Yeah.
I would have liked if there was a savings plus a cap,
Well, it's per machine, so we can't.
you know?
As you add machines, it's gonna go up.
We just won't add any machines.
Did you know we added any before?
Well, I get your point. It's hard to budget when you don't know what the contract's gonna be. Or harder to budget. You have to.
It's a 1 year, correct? Yeah, for 2021.
Yeah, this is just a maintenance for a year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cat maintenance.
Well, before, when he
Did
did,
we have a second on that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Are we still discussing? I'm sorry.
I would prefer that it's per machine with the cap at where it is now.
What is it? The old contract is what? What is, I don't have the old contract on here.
it's 14,350.
He blocked it
It's
out,
on
so
page-
no matter how many
page
machines you
22
had,
is
it
the
cost
total for the-
Oh, okay.
$14.50.
Contract isn't here what the contract total is.
I think you guys usually see like the full contract in January. I think these are just the amendments.
This is the change of it.
Yep. I can see if he's available to come by phone if you'd like.
Now, is this we're gonna approve the contract in 21, or is he's just feeling us out if we're gonna approve the amendments before he submits the contract to us in 21?
This is probably, I mean, it's probably in response to some market forces, you know.
Sure. You know, other technology companies are bidding this way, so it's,
That's the way I
It's just easier
understood
to
it.
bid per, instead of per machine, just to do the whole, everything.
Well, there's been other firms that have approached us about doing the whole contract for all the machines.
Mhm.
And I would assume that that's gonna happen again, and in the past, they've given us a lesser cost, so he's probably trying to adjust the market cost a little bit to compete. That's strictly speculation.
We like to keep local.
I think he lives in Fargo now.
Pretty sure he lives majority of his time in Cooperstown.
Oh.
pretty sure on that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he
probably.
spends his funds at the grocery store here and. Pretty sure. I don't think you're gonna get him any less local.
Do you want to go on and I go on to the next item, and then when he responds back,
Okay.
I can go try and.
we got motion on the table, are we gonna?
Oh, yes, you do.
We have a motion in a second.
Yep.
Yep.
The discussion is, you have questions on it, John?
Well, yeah, that was, it wasn't necessarily a question for me, it was a question for all of us, are we sure this is do we have enough information to make sure this is in the best interest of everybody involved?
Because I believe he states here that he's using the same number, the current number of devices under management now.
Yeah, he's just adjusting from per device to block devices. Block number. And this would be for 2021.
Not sure,
It says here,
It says for 21.
Yeah,
2021.
but we don't have a contract in place for 2021, do we?
that's what he's proposing.
Well, that isn't the whole contract. That's just a service.
Is it a automatic renewal contract every year?
No.
Or is it something we bid on every year?
Well, we haven't been getting any bids, we've been approached,
And
and we never have,
That same company continues to call.
you know.
Is it where they
every-
auto?
It's corporate technology, or
They're the
it's
same company that Travis worked for before he split off.
Yeah, corporate technologies out of Fargo.
Oh,
Is it
they're
corporate
just, I'm
technologies?
telling you, and to have them come here and call, you know what, just the mileage alone, the mileage fee is ridiculous.
They gave you guys some information a few years ago, and they were significantly higher than Travis, but they continuously call.
They always do.
And so then I knew that you guys didn't want any sales pitches, so I've been just saying, I have your contact. If we're looking for somebody, I will keep your number. So I do have their number, but I've been just saying that you guys don't want to.
I don't take any contract services off. I go Grand Forks if I can have it local. I try to keep it local just because of the mileage charge and for how long it takes for them to get there. Oh, we'll be there 3 days later. But I need you now.
And I liked, just my own personal opinion, I like when I call Travis and he knows like my whole situation, like from the beginning. If you call one of these other people, you might get this person, you might get this person, you might get this person, but.
Mm-hmm.
We want to move on and vote on this after we hear back from Travis? Or do we have to deal with the motion on the table?
We can table the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we table a motion until we hear back from Travis.
Mark made a motion to table the prior motion until we hear back from DNA Mobility.
Okay, that'd be fine, if we don't hear from them before the end. I don't think this is something we have to do today, so.
Is there a second? Second by Scott. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion is tabled.
Okay.
Who seconded the tabling motion? Sorry.
I did.
You did, okay, thank you.
We have water boards requesting that we have Fred Lukens and Andy Haugen reappointed to the Water Resource District for 2-year terms.
So move, I'll nominate the two.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark, second by Stephanie to appoint Fred Lukens and Andy Haugen to the Griggs County Water Resource District. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We've got our 2021 meeting schedule. Do we need a motion to approve that?
Yes, just one thing, on October 7th, your October 7th meeting, I do have that at 4:30 again. That's the day that you guys have your budget hearing at 6, so it makes it a lot easier if we do the 4:30 and then you guys don't have a long break and then have to come back for the budget hearing. It just kind of rolls into one to the other. If you guys are okay with that, we did that this year. It worked. We had just a little bit of a break, but it worked really well. If you guys are still in favor of that,
You're getting pretty organized here, so.
I'm doing so good, huh?
It only took us, 6-7 years to get
We got it. We got it.
Get her a sticker.
No, very good.
The January 7th meeting, it is a little bit early in the month. You might not have all the information that you do need because we will still be closing books for the year. We'll try and get you everything that you need, but there might be a little bit of leeway in that one, but we had to do it on that date.
Yeah, Harold will be there for the audit.
So, I mean, is it too early to have that one? Do you want to, can we just skip that one? Just have one for that month?
You have to meet before the 10th of every month to
Okay.
pay those other entities.
Okay.
So
Is Harold in COVID hiding or what?
He came and seen me the other
COVID
day.
hiding, the virus has been around for 20 years.
And are you guys good if I make a meeting or two via Zoom?
Absolutely.
Okay. I might have to do it from my desk. If they're not too long.
Yep, just let me know whenever and I can get you the Zoom link.
Okay.
Use the technology.
I'm all about 2021 technology.
Somebody gonna make a motion?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to
Oh.
approve the 2021 meetings.
Motion by Scott to approve the 2021 commission meeting schedules, second by Stephanie. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. City of Cooperstown would like to purchase
Can we do the special commission meeting?
special committee. Get out of order, did I?
No, that's okay. There was no place in there or
Oh,
nothing in
special,
there.
special commission meeting, what is that?
Every year you guys have a special meeting at the end of the year just to pay the remainder bills for the year. Could we do that again this year? If possible, we would like to do the afternoon of the 29th or the morning of the 30th. And that would be strictly just paying the remainder of bills for the year.
You actually shouldn't decide whether you need a meeting now or not.
Sure.
Because if you do, you have to notice it with the agenda.
And it's just bills.
So I would wait until closer
Can't-
Is there something
to
else
set
comes
the
up?
meeting in case something else comes up. Because you can only notice what you can only discuss what you've noticed. And
Right,
if
Yep.
these guys decide to have a special meeting on the 30th, the notice has to go out right away.
right.
So I would
Can-
wait to say,
Because that's usually what we do is we just put it here and then when I get back to the
Are
office,
these like
I
normal
do.
bills, like normal monthly bills? It's like the same water bill, the same whatever bill. If it's the abnormal bills,
It's just trying to get things put into this year's budget. Like I bought some office supplies.
Right.
So I need that in this year's budget, but I didn't get the invoice yet. So then that would need to come before you to get paid out of this year's budget and not next year's.
could we like pre-approve some of these things and say, hey, if it's an abnormal expense, just let it pay it?
not normally
No.
until we get the invoice on it.
No. No,
Some of
nothing.
those things like gas and stuff, I do have a like pre-approval from you guys, and then you guys just see the
Postage and things like that.
yeah.
But
So those things are already on that if we need
okay.
it to be, but it's
Okay.
yeah.
It's kind of abnormal end of the year expenditures, just as any business has that gets taken care of, and it's not something
Sure.
that's in the normal course of business usually.
Sure. Let me know what date and zoom me in. I will not be in this glorious state at that time.
Lucky dog.
and we just need 3 of us too, so.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we just need a quorum.
Huh?
I say we just need a quorum.
You're right. Yep.
Well, he doesn't want to see me sitting outside the patio in the sun. Come on. Okay.
Well, you decide, Dale, what date, when that gets.
Yeah, when Sam gets a hold of me, then we'll call a special.
Perfect.
Set her up.
Excellent.
Look for it happening on the 29th or 30th.
I thought we did this last meeting,
What's that?
those lots.
You did. In their letter, it said, please show this to the commission, so I made sure to show it to
Okay,
you.
you don't need a motion or anything?
No, I just need you guys to
Yeah,
see it. That's
We just gotta cash the check.
yeah.
here we go, $1.
Yeah, the dollar was, we already did that. We gave them the deed. The deed's been filed. It's a done deal. But in here it said, please present this to the Griggs County Commissioners. So I did that.
Did you abate the taxes on them?
Yes.
Old County laptops, what is that involved in?
Dennis Kabishka, or anybody that had a Windows 9 or 7
yeah.
unit had to update to a Windows 10. I have those. What do you want me to do with them? Do you want me to keep them and put it on a county sale? Within Travis's contract, it's in there that he will wipe the hard drive and get rid of it for us. He says it's more of a hassle to try and sell those anyway.
Windows 7 is obsolete, so they're no good unless
Yeah, so it's
we
just
upgrade them.
whatever you guys want me to do with the units.
Those computers aren't upgradable, I don't think, are they? For Windows 10?
No, and he already looked into them. Like it's already been upgraded. It like we need to get rid of it at some point. I don't want to keep them around. I don't want them in my back room. So if we can just, if it's okay with you guys to just have Travis take it and he can
Well,
do.
is there any possible way that any of the schools in our county could use, a student could use them?
No, because they're Windows 7, they're obsolete.
And they don't work for them
There's-
either.
There's no support for Windows 7 anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's usable, but there's no support for them and no virus protection or anything.
You try to get on Teams with the schools nowadays, and you can't do that. You can't do Zoom. You can't do, so it's kind of like it's dead dinosaur.
Mhm.
It's as if it's 19.
So I have a few of those. So if it's okay with you, I can just give those to Travis.
I need to make a motion for that, or
Anybody
just do it.
Anybody got any
That's
issues
how
with
it
them?
was in the past.
okay.
I guess I never knew this, but
What?
Think they got any issues as far as getting rid of these laptops? They're
just having
giving
Travis
to
take them.
Oh, I don't.
I don't
Any
think
other-
there's
is
any
anybody-
value to them, so you.
No.
No.
Nobody would have a
There's no
use for
value
them
to
in the
'em.
county?
Yeah.
or-
I make a motion to have Travis dispose of the laptops.
Thank you.
I actually don't think that you can use them on the county network anymore because of
No, you
the
don't.
state's
Yeah.
requirements for the
Yeah,
firewall
yeah.
updated programming.
You can take them out for target practice.
Stephanie's made a motion to have DNA Mobility dispose of the Old County laptops. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Old courthouse, new courthouse.
One thing, we found that there was a leak in the judge's bathroom. There was a pipe coming out of the wall and it was leaking. Brian then went and looked at the blueprints and we discovered that there is hot water heaters in our ceiling. One of them is leaking and was coming out of this pipe out of the wall. So Brian did ask me to contact a plumber. In the meantime of me in the process of gonna call one, he went up there, figured out that it was this one part. He went and got that part and he's gonna try and fix it himself. So there's that.
Well done.
It was the pop-off valve that was leaking.
Was it the pop-off valve or was it an element that was bad, that was getting too hot?
He said it was the pop-off valve. And then I suppose the pipe was screwed to that. And then it came down through the wall and it leaked out of the pipe. They didn't know what this pipe was for years. Now I think they found out that in many of the bathrooms there's a little pipe sticking out of there. So I think instead of having one big hot water heater throughout, we have many small ones over the top of every bathroom. On demand.
They're on demand, so there's no tank in it.
I don't know, I think there is a tank, but it's a little, they're all little hot water heaters up there, where he talked.
How's the Historical Society doing with their pictures and such? Have you heard updates on that? Are you having them doing that right now? Is that what you were saying, Tom?
NDSU is.
NDSU.
NDSU.
And NDSU was supposed to be done by the end of the year, and I still haven't heard back from them, so I'm not sure what they're.
Sometimes you gotta be the squeaky wheel.
And I was
If
like
it was a master's project, then a semester is.
yeah, and that's what they said too.
Somebody's dissertation.
So I can contact her again and see.
Future business.
Are you, anybody have anything? Good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn again.
Motion by Mark to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Scott. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring none, we'll proceed to vote. Everybody signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Adjourned at 4:10 p.m. on December 18th, 2020. Next meeting is January 7th at 2:30 in this room.